Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be doing the second video of my series titled The Most Well-Rounded Members of Each K-pop Group. Today's video will be covering the K-pop group Red Velvet and their 5 members, Irene, Seulgi, Wendy, Joy, and Yeri. If you haven't watched my first video about Twice, I suggest you watch it, so I will link it in the description. Basically what I will be doing in this video is discussing each member's abilities and talking about their strengths and weaknesses in the categories of singing, dancing, and rapping, to make a final judgment of who in this group are the most well-rounded. Since Red Velvet is a typically small group, I will probably just rank them at the end so you can see who is the most well-rounded. Now a disclaimer. Please keep in mind that I have no intentions of bashing the idols mentioned in this video and that this is all based off my unbiased opinion. I will go in depth in my explanations so you can better understand why I picked this member to be the most well-rounded. Also understand that just because I call a member the most well-rounded does not necessarily mean they are the most talented in the group. I am just giving them that name after assessing their abilities in singing, dancing, and rapping. Now you may ask why I am including rapping. Well, in order to become an idol, you must excel in singing and dancing in order to debut. Therefore, to be an all-rounder you must also excel in rapping. I also want to let everyone know ahead of time that I am not professionally trained in singing, dancing or rapping, and I don't want to seem like I am calling it like I see it. So I will also be going off what many other trained vocalists, dancers and rappers say on the members and their abilities. I will be analyzing each member's abilities starting from oldest to youngest. These opinions of mine can always change and I might not be set on the well-rounded members I choose in this video, for things can always change. I also ask that you stay respectful to me and to each other in the comments, and you are always free to disagree if you feel like you don't agree with something I say in this video. Anyways, take what I say with a grain of salt. It's meant for fun and I don't mean to cause harm or for anyone's feelings to be hurt, so without all out of the way, let's get started. First up is Bae-Joo-hyun, aka Irene. Irene's current positions are leader, main rapper, lead dancer, sub-vocalist, visual, and center. Irene is literally all the positions you can have as an idol, like imagine having talent. Anyways, let's take a look at her vocals, shall we? So to me Irene's vocals don't really stand out in the group. Obviously I'm not saying her vocals are weak because we all know she's trained in SM Entertainment, which has some of the best vocally trained idols in the industry. She has great vocals for an idol, and decent vocals for an SM idol, but I don't think she's a strong vocalist compared to her fellow members. For that, I would rank her 4th in vocals. Next is her dancing. Before Naughty's choreography released, I would have ranked Irene low in dancing. But now that I've seen her in Naughty doing all those intricate squares with her hands and swiftly moving her arms along with her executing each move without looking like she was going to die, I'd rank her 2nd in dancing. Before she debuted with Seulgi in Monster, I thought she was the weakest dancer in Red Velvet. She looked extremely stiff on stage and expressed almost no emotion or facial expressions. I think she appeared tense and stiff on stage before Monster because she made almost no facial expressions, but she really proved us wrong. She had so much energy when she performed Monster and Naughty, like I don't know if I never noticed it before, but my eyes literally opened. Her stiffness disappeared. She had so much power and energy, and her stage presence was amazing. Here's what I mean. My opinions on her dancing have completely changed, and now I see her as an incredible dancer in Red Velvet. Definitely one of the best in the group, which is why she is 2nd. Lastly is her rapping. Red Velvet's raps aren't the hardest or fastest raps compared to other girl groups in the industry, but they are still hard enough to showcase the members' talents. Since Irene is the main rapper and she is the only main rapper, I don't really think I have to say anything else here except that she's 1st in rapping. So overall Irene has desirable attributes for an idol and she has all the qualities to be an all-rounder, but could she be considered the most well-rounded? Next up we have Kang Seulgi. Her current positions are main dancer and lead vocalist. First let's take a look at her vocals. Seulgi has some very unique vocals and I think she could definitely be a main vocalist if she was in a different group. In fact, I think she could even be a main vocalist in this group, like they're just that good. She is very stable, and is very versatile as a singer, as she can easily adapt to different concepts, whether it be happy and upbeat to dark and girl crush. Her vocals are incredible, so I would rank her second. Next we have her dancing. Her dancing is flawless. Many trained dancers call her a very fluid dancer, one who has amazing technique while also being able to control almost all parts of her body. It's not hard to see she's the best dancer in Red Velvet and she deserves all the hype for it, so I would rank her first in dancing. Lastly we have her rapping. You'd think Seulgi would be able to rap, or at least showcase her rapping in a couple of songs, but no. If I'm not mistaken, Seulgi hasn't rapped in any of their title tracks, and I don't think it's likely that she has in their B-sides. Since I've never really heard her rap, I'm going to have to rank her last in this category. Of course, if you do find some clip of her rapping legitimately and not for fun, please link it down below in the comments so I can correct myself. So overall, Seulgi is a very skilled idol, and if this video was just based off idol's abilities in singing and dancing without rapping, she'd probably be the most well-rounded. But since this video takes into account idol's rapping abilities, I can't really give her this title. Next we have Sun Seung-wan, aka Wendy. Her current position is main vocalist. First up are her vocals. There's nothing much to say here. I mean, she is the best vocalist in Red Velvet and one of the best vocalists in the third generation due to her amazing versatility, her ability to hit stable high and low notes, and being able to shift around from head to chest voice with ease. Like, is there anything she can't do as a vocalist? SM did well with training and honing her skills, but she's obviously just a born talent. Her live vocals are so incredible and she is so stable, like please. Her voice is so soft, but it can be strong depending on the style of music she is singing. Her live vocals are always stable and her voice is just so angelic and pleasing to listen to. Just listen to this. Her vocals are chef's kiss, so she ranks first in this category. Next let's look at her dancing. Wendy is an average dancer and an above average idol dancer because of her consistent facial expressions and her incredible stage presence. Many trained dancers on YouTube and all over the internet say that she is a little inconsistent in technique and tends to overdance a lot, which brings her down in the dancing ranking. Since she's in Red Velvet, a group that changes concepts quite frequently, I will say that she is a versatile dancer who is able to adapt to many different genres of music. She is a trained dancer, but unlike Irene and Seulgi, nothing really stands out about her dancing in the group, except her facial expressions. Because of that, I would probably rank her third in dancing. Lastly is her rapping. Surprisingly enough, Wendy actually raps. Here's some examples. Wendy has an incredible tone for rapping and she has amazing breath control, which helps in both singing and rapping, so I would have to rank her third in this category. The only reason why she isn't higher is because she raps less than the other members. She is still an amazing rapper despite all of that. Overall, Wendy excels in all three categories, which makes her an all-rounder in Red Velvet. But is she the most well-rounded? Next we have Park Soo-young, aka Joy. Her current positions are lead rapper and sub-vocalist. Let's take a look at her vocals. There is no doubt that Joy's vocals are amazing. She trained in SM to be a vocalist, but I wouldn't say they are the best in Red Velvet. Her and Seulgi's vocal colors are my personal favorites in the group just because they are the most unique and they are both really soothing and nice to listen to. If this was all based on my opinion, I'd probably have her at first in vocals because of her sound and the way she differentiates herself from the other members. But since it is unbiased, I will have to give her third. While she may have an appealing vocal color, her technique isn't the best compared to her fellow members. She is still higher than Irene because the power in her voice is amazing and she has a pretty good range in terms of what notes she can hit. Next is her dancing. Joy is one of the weaker dancers in Red Velvet, mostly because she went into SM with almost no dancing ability. This is a positive according to some trained dancers because she has all the basic skills down, like power and muscle control, that a lot of idols haven't quite mastered, but she really lacks in comparison to her fellow members. Her facial expressions aren't the best when it comes to performing Red concepts, but her charisma during Velvet concepts is show-stopping. This can be good, but since Red Velvet switches between both concepts every comeback or two, it can show how inconsistent Joy is as a dancer. Another weakness of hers is that she is the tallest, meaning that her long limbs can make some moves appear incomplete and she can look a little stiff at times. Joy is a somewhat versatile idol dancer who can adapt to many different concepts, whether it be cute, girl crush, or sexy, but after weighing out all the pros and cons, I would rank her last in this category. Lastly is her rapping. Joy's rapping is similar to her singing, except I think rapping is more her strong suit. Her flow is amazing and she doesn't make any pronunciation errors. She is clear for the most part and she doesn't really mumble. She showed that she can rap very fast raps like she did in Happiness. The only thing that I would say brings her down as a rapper is that her breath control isn't the best. Yes, she gets the words out, but her breath control and her timing could need some improvement. I think this also applies with her singing. Because of all this, I think I would rank her second in rapping. Overall, Joy also excels in all three categories and she has amazing idol qualities, but is she the most well-rounded? Lastly, we have Kim Yerim, aka Yeri. Yeri's current positions are sub-rapper, sub-vocalist and maknae. Let's take a look at her vocals. So according to this trained vocalist, they say that Yeri has a good tone for singing and that she can sometimes be inconsistent but still a good idol singer. Yeri also doesn't sing much since SM never gives her lines, so it's not like we have mountains of evidence to back up our statements. But seriously, Yeri is a decent idol singer, but like I said with Irene, nothing much about her singing stands out in the group. That's why here I would tie her with Irene at fourth, or I guess last. Next is her dancing. Again, like her singing, nothing really stands out about Yeri's dancing. She is not a terrible idol dancer, but she definitely needs improvement. She makes great facial expressions and she has a lot of energy, but it's not really consistent, if you know what I mean. For dancing, I would also rank her last with Joy at fourth place. Now on the brighter side, we have her rapping skills. Yeri is a good rapper and I personally think if she improved and was also given more lines to prove it, she would be better than Joy. Her tone sounds a little whiny, if that makes sense, but most rappers sound like that anyways. She has a good flow, amazing rhythm, and a good sense of timing. She doesn't have many issues with breath control, so technically she could be tied with Joy in second, but I think she is still the weakest rapper compared to Joy and Irene, so I would instead tie her with Wendy at third. Now you might ask why I tied her in each category. It's not that I'm lazy to put her in a proper placement. I just think with the members she is tied with, her skills are at the same level as them, not being better or being worse. But again, you can feel free to disagree if there's something I could have missed. So overall, Yeri is an all-rounder, but I don't know if she'd be the most well-rounded in the group due to her lacking in all three categories and her need for improvement. She is still an incredible idol and she has improved a lot over the past 5 years of her debuting in Red Velvet, but there is still much for her to do if she were to be considered the most well-rounded. So now this is where I will show you all the rankings in all three categories as well as my final ranking to see which one is the most well-rounded. Just remember that these rankings can always change and these are all just based on an educated, unbiased opinion which is backed up on research and the words from many trained vocalists, dancers and rappers, not including myself. So here's the ranking. So now that you have seen that, I will go from number 5, the least well-rounded, to number 4, and then I will reveal to you the top 3 most well-rounded in Red Velvet. So at number 5 we have Seulgi. Seulgi is an amazing idol and has several talents, not just singing and dancing. Like I said earlier, if this video was solely based on singing and dancing, she'd probably be at the top. But since I can't really evaluate her rapping skills since she hasn't really rapped much before or at all, I can't give her the title of the most well-rounded. Next up in 4th place we have Yeri. Yeri can pass in all 3 categories and is decent in singing, dancing and rapping. The only reason why she is lower at 4th is because she needs a lot of improvement in all the categories compared to her fellow members. Overall she is still an amazing idol and she's also very charismatic as a person. Next in 3rd place is Joy. Before I started this series I already knew she was an all-rounder. Her name isn't the sexy ace of Red Velvet for no reason. The only reason why she is 3rd is because after I did more research, I learned to find out that her dancing was not so great compared to her fellow members. Her rapping and singing is already well above many idols in the industry, but her dancing brings her down, which is why she is at 3rd. Next in 2nd place we have Irene. Irene is amazing in all categories and her and Joy are very close when it comes to this particular ranking. But since Irene is the best at rapping and better at dancing than Joy, she had to be higher up. Irene has almost everything an idol would strive to have and she really shows those years of training when performing, which is really good to see. Lastly in the number 1 spot we have Wendy. Surprise surprise. I know y'all did not expect Wendy to be the most well-rounded in Red Velvet, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't either. But surprisingly Wendy excels and goes above and beyond in all these categories. She is the best in singing, and 3rd best in rapping and dancing. She has trained in singing but ended up being amazing all around. She has desirable idol traits and who wouldn't kill to have that voice. She has definitely improved in dancing and rapping over the past few years and I find it terrible that people overlooked her abilities in other categories besides singing. So did part of me make this video to shed light on her rapping and dancing skills? Yes, but that's besides the point. Overall all of Red Velvet are talented in their own ways and they are all better than you and me in everything anyway, so yeah. Comment down below if you agree or disagree, but respectfully do so. Don't take this video to heart. It was just made for fun and it's not supposed to get anyone's feelings hurt. If I missed anything that I should have included in the video, please let me know in the comments so I can correct myself. Since you've made it to the end, why not subscribe? Anyways, stay safe, wear a mask and I'll see you next time.